It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome, friends and neighbors. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you so much for joining us. In West Bloomfield Township, an historic local neighborhood has undertaken the process of becoming in part its own village. Daniel Zivian delivers this special report on that community.
I'm at the entrance of Zox Cass Lakeside. It's one of the older subdivisions in West Bloomfield, and it's already in its own little world.
We have our own municipal water system. We have roughly 4 miles of roads that we maintain, 3 miles of canals that we maintain. We have 15 vehicular bridges, and all this infrastructure is over 100 years old. When we started looking around for road funding or for water funding, they assume in the first place that if you're managing all this infrastructure that you must be a municipality, so everything is written with that assumption in mind. And because of it, we don't qualify for any funding.
But without those funds, Cass Lakeside is an infrastructure time bomb. Some homes are separated from the mainland by 4 to 6 bridges.
If we weren't in a position to be able to, say, borrow money as a community to fix the bridges, then that responsibility would be for those individual homeowners. So that means they would either have to split the cost of a $1 million bridge, or they wouldn't be able to get emergency services. Fire trucks, ambulances couldn't come to their house. According to the township attorney, we'd be looking at possibly seeing those houses get condemned.
LeDuc says the process began 3 years ago, only securing approval from the State Boundary Commission earlier this year. LeDuc says it could not have been done without the support of his neighbors.
In a lot of communities, neighbors don't even know each other. And we pack our community center in these meetings that we have about the village. So it feels really good that so many people are willing to get together and take chances and solve problems.
LeDuc says residents will elect a 5-member charter commission this November with 3 chances to approve a charter in August 2026. Taxes will go up, but as LeDuc says, quote, there are no free options. For Civic Center TV, I'm Daniel Zivian reporting.
At this time, Zox Cass Lakeside is not officially a village just yet. It's only taking those first steps. As Daniel said in his report, they still need to elect a village commission to charter that village going forward. So still a few more steps in the process before Zox becomes basically a municipality within a municipality. Despite all of this, they will still continue to have a part in West Bloomfield Township. West Bloomfield will collect taxes from that community still going forward, and Zox Cass Lakeside will receive certain township services such as police, fire, and EMS, and be able to also access the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. So more on that in the coming months as that process continues, and we'll keep you updated here on Civic Center TV. Just down the road, Lakers at West Bloomfield Middle School are going to be feeling like they're playing in the big leagues when school starts next week, following the installation of a brand new turf athletic field. Kevin McIntosh got an exclusive inside look at the revamped facility with West Bloomfield School District Assistant Superintendent Jamie Stottlemyre.
The West Bloomfield Middle School football field is a popular spot for outside activity amongst the students. Recently, the field received a major upgrade, which provided a new look and feel for the student athletes and patrons. We recently spoke with Jamie Stottlemyre, Assistant Superintendent of Facilities and Operations for West Bloomfield School District, to tell us why the field needed an upgrade.
We had a lot of issues with the old field. The principals would call us quite frequently and tell us about some issues with, divots in the field. There was a lot of weeds on the field, and obviously you don't want to spray a lot of chemicals with kids out here running around. And the other big issue is that, and it's typical with any grass field, is it's difficult to grow the grass because the growing seasons are the fall and the spring, and that's when you have kids out there running around trampling it. So it's really hard to get the grass to grow. And the other issue was ongoing maintenance costs of keeping up a grass field and having to mow it, having to stripe it. There's a lot of costs associated with that. And lastly, it was just the playability. Obviously, we get a lot of rain here in Michigan, so we were not able to use it a lot because of the issues with mud and the water accumulating on the surface.
Jamie further discusses the current status and the benefits of the new turf.
The contractors are very close to having the field done. They actually put in the 40 tons of crumb rubber last week. They still have to disassemble the bridge that they used to cross over the track and to clean up some of their equipment over there, but they're getting really close to having it done. We did start it a little early. We started on May 13th with the hopes of being able to have it done before fall sports. The wonderful thing is the Shaw Game On is the company that we went with for the turf. They have 15 projects going this summer in southeastern Michigan. Ours was the #1 out of the gate. So by being first, we were able to ensure that everything was manufactured and brought out here and put in place. And so they were able to complete the job.
We learned about how the West Bloomfield School District incorporated the input of the students for the new field.
Before we actually started the field project, we were able to get a few designs out to the students to vote on, and the students picked their favorite field design, so we incorporated that, which was pretty cool to be able to involve them in the project. Another thing that's nice about the Shaw Game On product is that they're able to tuft the color into the carpet fabric, whereas on a normal artificial turf field, every time there's a color change, those two colors have to be sewn together. But they have a patent on it where they're able to stitch or actually weave all the colors into the textile, which allows us to do things that you used to not be able to do. So here you can see, obviously, we have our new Lyle the Crocodile border, which just adds a little pizzazz to the project, a little fun, and it ties in with our new branding with the district. So
A brand new design, shot put area, and turf is right here at the West Bloomfield Middle School to level the playing field for the safety of our students. The fall of 2025 is expected to see the debut of the field with plenty of activities planned on it. From West Bloomfield Middle School, I'm Kevin McIntosh, Civic Center TV.
Just a few more days till the kids will get their first crack at the new turf field at West Bloomfield Middle School. Looking fantastic from a bird's eye view. Certainly on the ground, going to be a big benefit for those kids out there. Came at some expense, and there was a little bit of controversy with that, of course, from the community, as turf was included in some of the discussions before the building of the new middle school just a few years ago. Ultimately, they decided to delay those costs till later on if it was needed. And then, of course, it was because of the maintenance of the former grass field being so significant. There's so much wear and tear on that field because not only is it used for classes and for athletics at the middle school level, it's also used for recreational activities. It's a community gathering and activity space as well. And on top of that, when there's not room at West Bloomfield High School on their turf football and soccer field or on the baseball and softball fields, that's a tertiary location for the West Bloomfield High School athletics teams to practice on as well. So it gets a lot of foot traffic, all of that, the motivation behind this brand new turf field. You can get more analysis on that in recent school board meetings on civiccentertv.com. For more updates throughout the school year from the West Bloomfield School District directly, follow them on Facebook and Instagram at West Bloomfield Schools and visit their website at wbsd.org. From the middle school football to the high school football field, Laker football is back in Greater West Bloomfield just 1 week from today. The 2025 West Bloomfield Lakers season already underway. However, a couple weeks back, they kicked things off at OAA Football Media Day at Rochester High School. West Bloomfield head coach Zach Hilbers rounded out the 22-team extravaganza, introducing his 2025 L Boys, delivering a special message as well to players across the OAA. Take a look.
You know, guys, to be honest, we're super excited. You get to this point of the year, especially the end of this day, we're right around the corner. All the stuff that you've been working for and lifting weights and conditioning for, it's right there in front of you. You know what I mean? And with me here, I got 3 seniors that they've kind of been through the gauntlet with us. These guys and a couple other have played a ton of football for us since they were sophomores. Okay, on my far right, I have Jeremiah Benson, who will play in the D-line, and he'll play some tight end, and Kamari Pittman, who's played on the D-line, and he'll play some H-back, and Travis Robertson here, who will play on the O-line and D-line. And these guys played a lot as sophomores in a state semifinal game, and were a play away against Southfield from kind of reaching their ultimate goal. And then the next year, last year, we were toe-to-toe with so many quality opponents on our schedule in a lot of different games. And honestly, more often than not, it didn't go our way. So they kind of had a taste of that success when they were younger. And then last year, kind of got put through the ringer that can be the grind of the OAA schedule that a lot of people have mentioned. And they've kind of seen both sides of it. And I think it's left them with a great balance of the appreciation it takes to get close to your ultimate goal, but also the understanding that it takes of how hard it is just to get there. You know, like, winning is difficult. It's really difficult. If it wasn't, everybody would win every week. You know, especially if you look at some of the schedules in this packet, it is very difficult. And I think we got a pretty good understanding of that and what it takes to at least give yourself a chance to get out there and compete, put your best product on the field, and give yourself a chance to win each week. And that's our ultimate goal. Like, all our off-season training, all our summer has been to get in there, get stronger, get ready for the gauntlet that's about to happen starting next week. And to be honest, guys, my closing message, I guess, because we're last, to everybody in this room, is there's a lot of good coaches here, guys, but the players across this board, from my left to my right, you guys are what make this league special, okay? And it's not kids in the hallways of your school. It's not kids in your classroom or your cafeteria. It's us here in this room. We are the only ones, and your teammates, that understand the sacrifices that we all make to try to reach our goals, right? So along with that, it's my goal is to continue to support each other and lift this game up. And yeah, it's a weird balance because a lot of us, we're going to compete against each other. And it's a physical game that you want to, like, beat each other's face in within the rules and push people around. But at the same time, lift each other up. Because the people that understand the stuff that you guys sacrifice to try to reach your goals, they're all here. And yeah, we might practice differently, we might lift differently, we might condition differently, but we all have the same goals for each other. You have the same goals for each other, you have the same goals for your teammates, and we all want the same thing at the end of the day. And it's not going to happen for each of us, but man, I know that, like, at least like the teams that we're going to play, we're all going to try, right? So embrace each other, lift each other up, and keep advancing this game so we continue as a conference to reach greater and greater heights each year. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Have a good one.
West Bloomfield High School head football coach Zach Hilber is rounding out the 22-team OAA Football Media Day. You can watch the entire presentation from all of the 5 teams in the OAA Red and many of the others from across the leagues that will be seeing West Bloomfield at the Swamp and on the road this fall on CivicCenterTV.com. And check out our on-air schedule for additional listings of when the OAA Football Media Day will air on cable and, of course, on CivicCenterTV.com as well. Keagle Harbor, it's time to go dancing. Now locals have a chance to learn how to dance from an expert. Denise Kasten-Clark is a former Radio City Rockette and the owner of Tap Dance Detroit, which now has a brand new location right here in the heart of the lakes on Summers Road and Orchard Lake in Keagle Harbor. Denise joined me on the Splash Live to tell us more about her brand new location and bringing a love of dance to a new community. Denise, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. So excited when they reached out. So I'm really excited to talk about Tap Dance Detroit, Keagle Harbor.
Yeah, glad to have you on the program to talk about this as you just recently moved in to Keagle Harbor in July of this summer. So let's start with that. What made Keagle Harbor a destination you wanted to go to for Tap Dance Detroit?
Well, I've always loved this area so much, and I love the people here. And we've had our location in Ferndale since 2019, and we came upon a vacant dance studio right here in Keagle Harbor, and I thought it was an absolute perfect location to add to our current Ferndale location. it's geographically a lot more convenient to our clientele who lives, out here, West Bloomfield, Farmington Hills, Waterford, and other surrounding areas. So we want to bring our community up here, and we offer daily drop-in. We have a unique studio here. We offer daily drop-in classes for adults and teens of all levels, from absolute beginner to working professional. And we also have a vibrant, wonderful youth program.
And dance is something that for people that enjoy dancing, they love to find new ways to engage in that, to learn different styles and to get out in the community as a social activity, as a physical activity, or even a combination of the both. But from your perspective, teaching dance, particularly tap dance, to people throughout the Metro Detroit area, what's your method in getting everybody involved and not just those passionate dancers?
Yeah, so the saying is, if you can walk, you can tap dance. I'll say, even if you can't walk, you can still tap dance. But it's about tap dance is a very social art form. So when you come to class, you're not just standing, you're not just a silo standing in a class. You're engaging with the people around you, and there's lots of joy in the art form, and it's such a like I said, it's a social art form. It started as a street form. It's a way for people to connect with each other, not only to connect with each other, but at the same time, as you said, we get physical activity, works your brain, works your intellect. It's a way to express yourself. So self-expression, artistry, it really checks all the boxes, and it just put in one sentence, it makes you happy.
And to teach that to people of all different skill levels, I'd imagine it takes a lot of those skills that you developed as you were learning to dance, and certainly throughout your professional career as a dancer as well, kind of all encompassed in that method to be able to understand where people are at and be able to help them learn the basics, and then on top of that, develop their skills.
Oh, yeah, and it's all so achievable. And like I said, the Absolute Beginner Series here is my biggest seller. And we start from the very beginning. We just start walking in rhythm, putting one foot in front of the other. And anyone can do it. Anyone can really do it. It's accessible. It's an accessible art form, no matter age, size, dance background. Even, I have adults that come in who have never ever danced before, and a few years later, they're outperforming with us. We do a lot of outreach performances, everything from art speeds and eats to assisted living facilities to performing for kids to performing for kids in foster care. We perform. We like to get out in the community. Clean crews. We like to get out into the community and perform, and it's so rewarding to have adults in our performance group who started from scratch just a few years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. Started from scratch, never tap danced before, and now they're out there performing for people throughout the community.
What do you believe brings people back? They take that beginner and they start taking the beginner's class. They explore dance through tap or through jazz or through both just a little bit. They dabble in it. What about these classes do you think brings people back for that second, third, and fourth class and turns this into a hobby for them?
Yeah, it's an outlet, and it's also, as I said before, it's an outlet, and it's a way to connect with other people, and also for the adults. They work hard all day, and so they want to come and just just come and let go for a class, and it's a different experience than say going to the gym where you go and you have your workout circuit and all that stuff. It's more connected and expressive. So it just checks some more boxes. And we, like I said, over the years, we've built such a cool and fun community, supportive community. And we all, we're all very, those of us, the regulars, we're very connected, and we're very also welcoming to anybody who wants to join our community.
We're joined by Tap Dance Detroit owner Denise Caston-Clark with locations in Ferndale and now a new location as of the middle of July in the city of Keego Harbor. It's on Summers Road, which is just off of Orchard Lake Road right before the bend in Keego Harbor. Denise, also there's an opportunity for kids to learn also in this. And we saw some pictures early on of kids really enjoying themselves learning dance. And so for parents that are looking for that activity, that's an energy outlet for kids, a social outlet for kids, why should they consider having their kids try dance?
Well, dance, it's, I mean, you covered a lot of it there. We have a really great youth program, but also backed by decades of training dancers of all ages and levels. So I've been educating dancers since 1994, since I was a teenager. So you, in order to teach kids dance, especially young kids at different formative stages of life, I designed a toddler program, parent taught tap along, I call it, into age 4 to 6, into age 7 to 10. And so I've been working with all ages of dancers for so long. So I've designed a really great curriculum that keeps them engaged. It keeps them moving. It's also great for their, not only for their physical fitness, balance, coordination, strength, flexibility, also their intellect. It gets their minds and bodies connecting, and then that also serves them academically too. So dance is just an all-around, a really great thing to get your kids into. And we run our youth program in 8-week sessions. So if you have a kid that's 5 years old or 8 years old, they sign up for an 8-week session. And then, if they love it, and they usually do, they keep signing up. They keep signing up for the next session. We have 2 annual shows for kids that want to perform. So if they want to perform, they sign up to do the show. And also, kids getting up in front of an audience, like getting up on stage in a costume in front of an audience, in a group with other kids. It's such a formative building block for them for anything they do outside of the dance studio and then in the future. So it's just a great way. It's a great way to help your kid develop.
You can find more information and class times on tapdancedetroit.org. You can also go to their Keego daily drop-in schedule on their website to find even more classes and information if you need to know that as well. They're also on Facebook at Tap Dance Detroit, and you can follow Denise on Instagram at Denise Caston. Denise, you've been in the city of Keego Harbor for just over a month, about a month, at the point that we are doing this interview on our live show. So I want to talk to you about the city of Keego Harbor, your new community here in Southeast Michigan. How are you enjoying the heart of the lake so far?
Yeah, I love it. And like I say, we're just getting started. So we're getting those first students walking in the door. We're going to have an open house next week, next Friday at 5 o'clock. So anybody can come in, ask questions, check out the space, ask me about classes. But I'm also very accessible. So I own the studio, and then at the same. But I'm also if you reach out to the studio, you're gonna be reaching out to me personally, and then I'm easy to reach, easy to have a conversation with, just to answer all the questions. But I've loved this area for a long time. I used to come and take ballet classes daily here down the street, and it's just a fun. It's a great area. It's very. You feel like you're just. One of my regulars came here for the first time, and she said, "I feel like I'm up north." So it's that kind of vibe. So I was super excited, about this location and to expand to reach more people, to give more people more chances to come and dance. Because like I said, we really do. We've got a unique niche here in the dance community, in that we have such wide offerings for dancers of truly all ages.
And Denise, beyond that, you also offer drop-in classes too. It's not just necessarily something that people have to sign up for. They have to dedicate a time for, or they have to sign up for multiple classes too. So what factors into allowing those drop-in classes? How does that help get people better connected with this art form?
So the drop-in model is just, it's great for adults and teens who have, busy schedules and varying schedules. So any given level of a class is going to meet more than once a week. And then, if an adult with their schedule, like maybe one week they can come on Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday, but the next week is different. They can come on Tuesday and Friday, or vice versa. So they've got that flexibility with the schedule. And then with the way we design the classes, I will keep the same class for 2 weeks. So if you come on a Wednesday, and you get that I teach a certain class, certain exercises and a combination, then you can come back the following Wednesday, and it's going to be the same class. So you can reinforce what you learned. So it's a chance. I do it that way so that people can build consistency and see themselves advancing and progressing. And they really do, like, the progress is real, like from week to week, those who put the time in and they keep coming back. You really do, you see the growth from week to week and from year to year.
More information on tapdancedetroit.org. You can also find them in Keego Harbor on Summers Road. That's just off of Orchard Lake in the city of Keego Harbor.
3184. Yeah.
3184 is the address, correct. 3184 Summers, that's just off of Orchard Lake Road in Keego Harbor. Denise Kasten-Clark is the founder and the owner of Tap Dance Detroit and their new location in the city of Keego Harbor. Denise, before we let you go, as I mentioned earlier on, you are a former Radio City Rockette. All these people coming into your locations, including now in Keego Harbor, to learn dance from you and from your community. I got to ask, as people are learning to dance, they learn that you're a Rockette. Did they ever try to have you do an impromptu kick line with them?
It sure has happened. Yeah, absolutely. It's just truly one of the best jobs, and it was my first job ever as a professional dancer. I was only 19 when I was hired. I got to open the show at the Fox Theater, so huge. Growing up, going to the Fox Theater, and then getting to open the show there when it first came to the Fox was amazing, and it's really formed who I am as a professional and also as an educator, because I would be here. I wouldn't have gotten on that stage at the Fox had not been for my amazing teachers and mentors. So I'm truly passionate about paying all that forward, passing it down.
And helping a new generation of dancers learn to love dance just as you have right here in our community. Denise, welcome to Keego Harbor, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have them in the heart of the lakes. You can find more information on Tap Dance Detroit's new Keego Harbor location on their website, tapdancedetroit.org. You can also follow them on Facebook, Tap Dance Detroit, and follow Denise herself on Instagram at Denise Kasten. As the summer wedding season comes to a close, brides-to-be make their final preparations for their upcoming fall nuptials. Close to home, a local bridal boutique is helping those brides as well as those looking toward fall wedding season next year to make sure they are prepared and worry-free for their big day. Joining me now on the Splash Live with more is the owner of Always Couture Bridal Boutique, Liana Harris. Liana, thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Tyler. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you on to talk about this. It's an exciting time for these individuals that are just about to get married and those starting to plan their weddings even for next year. And maybe I'm giving it away a little bit with prefacing that before I ask. When people are looking for that perfect wedding dress, when is that process at best supposed to be beginning?
At best, at least 6 to 8 months out. So a wedding gown can take anywhere from 10 to 16 weeks to be ordered if you're doing a special order. Now, that being said, I know that things are always unpredictable, and you can't always know when things are going to happen. You might get engaged and plan your wedding 2 months out, and you just have to get everything together as quickly as you can. So there are always options to expedite the process. You could get a special order rushed, or you can buy off the rack, which means you could take that dress home that very day.
And so the process can be either very rushed, very quick, but you still get to the finish line in most of these cases, or it's something that can take a little bit of time and you really get to go through an extensive search. When they do that with their local bridal shop, Liana, what process do you take to help these people visualize what they want their wedding day to look like, want themselves to look like in that picture, and then best fit that benchmark?
Yeah, so the entire business model of Always Couture is really about elevating the entire experience. So we walk you through from beginning to the end. We are with you every step of the way. When you come in and get a consultation with us, you come into a beautiful, warm atmosphere. You get handed a glass of champagne. You're sitting there with your friends and your family, and I've already picked out a curated gown selection for you, so you've already got choices here waiting for you, so you don't have to spend extra time just searching through the racks. And this is all based on your preferences. We have phone calls beforehand. You fill out a profile online that tells me what style you're looking for, what your budget is, what sort of event you're having. And all of this information really helps me to specialize an experience that's tailored just for you. So you get to come in and try these beautiful gowns on and feel gorgeous and pampered and comfortable. And then we walk you through the process of purchasing and when your dress will be arriving in the store, when you'll be able to pick it up. And then we also walk you through alterations. So almost every time you buy a bridal gown, you will need something done to it, whether it's just a little nip and tuck here, a full hem, or an entire remodel, depending on the type of dress that you got. So we cover everything from day one till you pick up your dress and it is perfectly fitted to you.
And so as people begin that process, you mentioned you have phone calls, they fill out a profile. Information's always going to be king when you're trying to put together the perfect experience for someone, especially when it's for a day like this that's supposed to be one of the most special days of anybody's life. So when people are starting that process with you, Liana, what information should they be bringing to you? What questions should they be asking you to help set you up to put them in the best position?
Well, really, we only do a few basic questions. How many guests would you like to bring in with you? What is your budget? Your approximate dress size, so we know what we have in the shop that we can have you try on that will fit the most appropriately. And then, what your style preferences are. Do you prefer to have a big ball gown, or would you like something more clean cut, more modern, more vintage? The detail of what type of event you're having is also a key component because, your dress will need to fit the aesthetic of your venue or your theme a lot of the time. And, of course you can mix and match, but a lot of the time you'll want to have a sort of cohesive element to the entire day. So you'll want your dress to be either sleek and modern for like a New York City kind of wedding, or you'll want something more flowy and dreamy and romantic for a backyard or a barn wedding or something like that. So we really try to listen to our brides and to hear what they are really looking for, but also to provide the expertise when they might not know exactly what it is they want. So that is one of the biggest challenges with brides walking through the door. I get it almost every time. A girl has an idea of a dress when she walks through the door, and she almost always leaves with the exact opposite of what she thinks she wants. So it's up to me and my team to have the knowledge and the experience and the respect for the bride to tell her what is going to work for her and what choices she has available that's going to give her the best outcome for what she wants.
The vision may change, but as long as they are satisfied, they're happy with what they've got, and it's fitting ultimately the vision that makes that day magical for them. That's all that matters along the way in this process. Liana Harris is with us, the owner of Always Couture Boutique, a bridal boutique in West Bloomfield, on today's edition of The Splash Live. You can get in contact with them and find more information on alwayscoutureboutique.com, as well as on Facebook at Always Couture. Liana, there's always going to be a difference when you're going for a specialty product like this between going to some of the corporate chains versus your local boutique shop. So for customers customers in Greater West Bloomfield and neighboring communities that are about to begin their bridal shopping process, what extra benefit do they get from shopping at one of their local shops like yours?
Oh, so much. It changes the entire experience. So when you walk into one of those bigger chains, it's usually, like going into a grocery store. There's a lot of people around. It's very hectic, it's loud. You're not going to get a lot of one-on-one attention. Even when you have a stylist that's dedicated to you, they're still going to be kind of running around and making sure that this bride is taken care of and, running in the back to grab things. They're not fully focused on you. And that is the difference. That is what you're going to get out of a smaller, more intimate boutique experience, is that when you walk through the door, you are getting personalized one-on-one attention with your stylist at all times. They are right there, dedicated just to you to make sure that your experience is the most enjoyable. And that is really the goal of my entire motivation here is, I want to sell dresses, of course, but more than anything, I want my brides to feel excited and happy and cared for throughout the entire experience while they're here with us.
And lastly, as we go into the fall wedding season, as people are making those final preparations for their weddings this fall and are preparing for those last few weeks, those last few days, the day of next fall, what are some of the common challenges that you see arise from the beginning of the process, the middle of the process as you're getting close to that final dress, and in those weeks and days leading up to wedding day that may end up getting you back involved in the process with brides-to-be?
Well, one of the most common things that I experience with brides throughout any of their planning process is it can be very overwhelming. There are so many choices to make. You're working with a limited time frame no matter how far out you plan. You've got to get things together as quickly as possible. And it's, there's a bit of herding cats involved when you're trying to get everything figured out with your guest list and getting people to RSVP and, signing contracts with vendors. And there's so much that goes into it. And it's really, really easy to get stressed out and overwhelmed, which kind of ruins the process for you a little bit. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be exciting. And when you're constantly worried about whether or not you're going to be able to book the right florist or whether or not your dress is going to make it to you on time, it's just those little things, those little details that a place like mine helps you to take care of that really makes the difference. And like I said, we take care of a person from stepping through the door the first day in the shop to all the way at the end of alterations. I've been a bridal seamstress for my entire life. I'd say about 27, 28 years. And people look at me funny whenever I say that because I don't look like I should have been doing this that long, but I've been sewing since I was 6 years old. And I've been working on bridal gowns since I was in high school. I've got education, background, experience, and I've had various mentorships with some of the best seamstresses in the state. So that is also one of the big things that differs from my boutique as opposed to others, is that me and my team are all experienced in alterations. So we know how dresses are constructed. We're familiar with textiles and quality. So not only do you get the expertise behind making this dress everything that you're wanting it to be, but we also curate a quality selection of gowns because we are familiar with what quality is, what makes a gown fit appropriately, what makes a type of textile, type of fabric worth putting into a bridal gown. What makes a good fabric versus a bad fabric, and how it's going to drape and how it's going to fit. All of these are benefits that you get when you work with us because it helps to, like I said, elevate the experience. You're getting so much more than just a shopping experience. You're really getting one-on-one advice and expertise and really just a specialized process from the beginning to the end.
The personalization plays a big role in this, especially when you want to fit the image of your perfect day and stand out from all the other weddings throughout the summer and the fall. Liana, thank you so much for your time today and for introducing us to your local business here in West Bloomfield.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. More information is on alwayscoutureboutique.com. Get in contact with Liana and her team and begin your own process. And you can see some of their work across social media. Facebook at Always Couture, and on Instagram, get your pen and paper ready. Always Couture _bridal boutique. That's Always Couture _bridal boutique. Links to that again on their website, alwayscoutureboutique.com. They're also a member of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. Always love partnering with our local chamber members. We'll take a break on the Splash Live on the other side as we go back to school. We go back to safety as well. What you need to know to help your kids get ready for the first day and keep the community safe as we get a little bit busier out and about this fall. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Hi, I'm Marcia Gershenson, and I'm one of the Oakland County Commissioners that's lucky enough to represent West Bloomfield. And I'd like to congratulate Civic Center TV on having 1 million viewers on YouTube. I mean, that's incredible. Your viewpoint and your authenticity is so valuable. So congratulations on 1 million views. I'm proud to be one in a million.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back. We are live, we are local, we are social, we are the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. That's right, you're stuck with me today. Too bad. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for being with us. Back to school is here, and as families get kids back into the swing of things to head to the classroom, the community also takes on renewed responsibility out and about across the local area. Joining us for the ever-helpful back-to-school safety tips as we get ready for the fall season is Officer Zena Daly from the West Bloomfield Police Department. Officer Daly, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Tyler.
Yeah, happy to have you on. It's an exciting time of the year. We get our kids back in the classroom. The fall's on its way.
Right.
School's back in session. But that comes with a lot of safety concerns because we've had these kids out and about either at camp or they've been at home all summer. The buses haven't been on the road. It hasn't been as busy necessarily. And now we get the kids back into the swing of things. It impacts everybody's schedule, whether you're a parent or not. So what are some of the most important factors that the community should be considering from a safety standpoint as we get those kids back in the classroom?
Yep, you are right. We're getting back in the swing of things, and that means you're going to start seeing kids walking early in the morning as it gets dark in the morning. You're going to see kids riding their bikes and getting to and from the bus stop. So I guess I'll start with our kids that are walking. If you have young kids, I really urge parents to find a safe walking route that they practice until their child knows that route before school starts. And if possible, sometimes these kids are taking routes and they're taking these walks on their own because their parents have to go into work so early, or they have other obligations going on. But if it's possible, I would say try to find a group, a friend to walk with them. If you don't have a couple of kids in your neighborhood or a couple of streets around you, see what you could do about talking to the school about kids that maybe you don't know that well that are in the same school and taking that same route. Try to connect with those parents and get those kids together so they're not walking alone. And then, of course, I would make sure you're teaching them as they're walking home from school, both to and from school, if a car approaches them, how they should respond, and when they get to school or when they get home, to tell a trusted adult, hey, this happened. I want to get as much information from the child and report that so that we're aware of it and we can put something out and also patrol that area a little more than we already are as those kids are walking to and from school. You want to make sure that, I know West Bloomfield has a lot of streets that don't have sidewalks, but if we do have sidewalks on the streets that you're taking, I urge those kids to use the sidewalks as much as possible and take a route that avoids as many intersections as possible. And then you're going to see along with these walkers is all the new kids that are driving, the high school kids that are driving to and from school, and sometimes are running late. Parents included, running late to work, running late to get their kids to school, and we're rushing a little bit. We are not paying attention, and we have those walkers and the kids that are riding their bikes to school. So we want to make sure that we are slowing down. We are aware at every stop sign and crosswalk if there are kids that are coming to and from through those crosswalks. And you want to make sure that our new drivers especially are following all the rules of the road so that they are not rushing through any stop signs where kids are crossing or at the bus stop, because sometimes you'll see some of those kids standing too close to the curb waiting for the bus, which leads me to our bus safety. So we have kids that are walking to the bus, again, on their own, and they're a lot of times rushing to get there. They're running late. You want to make sure that you are not running to the bus. That those drivers are aware. They see you. They will wait for you. And a lot of times those kids are telling me, hey, so-and-so is catching up. They'll be here in a second. Don't rush. Don't run to the bus, and make sure that bus is stopped before you're actually approaching that door. That driver will open the door, and that is your cue to then get in. Walking up to that door any sooner is not going to help you get in that bus until he or she opens that door. So, and then once you're in the bus, you want to, and I'm sorry, I'm going to back up a little bit before you get in the bus. You want to make sure that while you're waiting there and you're on time, that you are away from that curb. You don't want to stand too close where the bus is going to approach and where cars are still driving through and making turns. Sometimes those turns are a little tight and they're a little too close to the curb. You want to make sure your kids are safe enough and far back. And then once you're in the bus, parents, you want to make sure you're telling your kids to stay seated. If there's seatbelts, let's use those, and keep the volume down so that we're not distracting our drivers. Going back a little bit, Tyler, to our drivers that are actually driving to and from school, when you do see a bus stopped and they have their red lights flashing, their stop sign out, you have to stop. Do not go around that bus. You want to make sure that those kids that are crossing to get onto that bus are not in any danger of getting hit.
And of course, there's so much to consider with age of the kids also. From the elementary age, middle school, high school kids, there's always some different considerations in there. But there are some similarities. There's some goofing off more with the middle schoolers and the high schoolers at the bus stop or as they're walking home from the bus stop or as they're walking home from school versus the elementary school kids who are just looking for some playtime to fill that dead time between when they get to the bus stop and when the bus actually gets there. So from a parent's side of things, what should they be talking to, especially those younger kids who are going to be at the bus stop? How should that factor in to their training, to their walkthroughs? What to do when you're at the actual bus stop and waiting?
So like I said, that's when you want to make sure you're teaching them, hey, it's okay. I know you guys are waiting. You want to have fun, and that is all okay. But you want to make sure you're doing that away from the curb, as far away from the street as possible. Like I would say walk 6 to 10 steps back away from that curb. That bus driver will see you. You will see when they're approaching, and you are not in danger as you're playing around. Kids get, they're pushing around, they're running around. You're not close. You're not getting close to that curve if you're 10 feet away from it.
Yeah, always good advice too. And we go back to the high school kids that may be driving in for the first time. It's not only a factor of them needing to be on time, maybe leave a few minutes earlier, avoid speeding as you mentioned earlier on, but sometimes they're also going to be carpooling with some of their friends, whether it's to school or after school to other activities. How should that factor into the conversation with parents from a safety standpoint, and what steps they need to be taking to keep themselves focused on the road and eliminate hazards that come from being a new driver and being distracted by friends and other things happening in the vehicle?
Great question. And what you just said is to avoid that distraction, stay off your electronics, pay attention to the road. Again, like I said, in West Bloomfield, we have a lot of streets that don't have sidewalks. And so you have kids that are walking, that are on the road. So you want to make sure you are paying attention and you're driving slow. Give yourself enough time, leave home. And I know that there are times where we just wake up late, but rushing to save that 2-3 minutes will do you no good. You're going to be late regardless. At the very least, you're at least being safe, and you know that you are not putting anyone else, not yourself or anyone else, in danger.
All good advice. There's even more of that on the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield Police Department at West Bloomfield PD. Officer Zena Daly is joining us on today's edition of the Splash Live. There's also considerations for the rest of the community as well. Parents and kids certainly play a very big role in back-to-school safety. But for those of us that don't have kids, we're not going to and from the schools at all, throughout the regular school year. What factors should we be considering as we head back to the school season to make sure we're keeping those kids and those families safe during the school year?
That's when you approach those school zones where the speed limit drops a little bit. You'll see that around all of our schools. So just pay attention when those lights are flashing. There are times that those are restricted for. So I would pay attention to that and slow down because you have kids crossing the main road. You have West Bloomfield Middle School. You are crossing the main road. Same with the high school. So, and I urge parents to make sure their kids are crossing at the light, at the crosswalks. But there are times where these kids will just cross. And so we, as the drivers, have to be careful. We have to be vigilant and pay attention.
Always a good idea to be doing that, even throughout the rest of the season. When it's not kids running across the road, it's going to be a deer. So, hey, good practice in that school year and school zone anyway. Officer Daly, before we let you go, any final advice for parents, for kids, and for the community as we focus on back-to-school safety?
Parents, I would have those talks with your kids from elementary to high school. And like I said, it goes from walking and being safe and how to handle what happens if you're approached by another vehicle, that someone that you don't know, a stranger, to the high school kids who are driving. And even if this is your third year driving, you still want to be careful and make sure that you are having that conversation of stay off your electronics, pay attention, and slow down.
We always appreciate the advice from the West Bloomfield Police Department. The community can get even more by calling their non-emergency number or visiting them on Facebook at West Bloomfield PD. Zena, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Again, West Bloomfield PD on Facebook is where you'll find them. You'll also find them at the same address on Instagram for helpful tips throughout the community, all throughout the school year, as well as other emergency and public safety updates to keep you informed close to home here in Greater West Bloomfield and in surrounding areas. Coming up very soon, over the weekend, we'll be celebrating some of the hardest workers in the Greater West Bloomfield community that help to keep it so vibrant and beautiful in our natural areas and woodlands. It's the pollinators. They're being celebrated at Marshbank Park with Pollinator Fest from West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation. I was recently joined by their environmental education intern, Katie Scaff, to give us all of the details. Katie, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on as we get ready for Pollinator Festival. It's really an opportunity that mixes of, like many of West Bloomfield Parks' events, fun with education all into one. So why the focus? Let's begin. Why the focus on pollinators?
Yes, absolutely. Pollinators are absolutely essential for our food production. They contribute to 1/3 of what we eat every day. So without them, we would have about a 40% decrease in food. So we should definitely bring awareness to them and appreciation.
And part of the goal of the Pollinator Festival with West Bloomfield Parks is to give something that can be enjoyed and something that can be learned from for people of all different ages in our community. Why is that important, that widespread educational effort?
Yeah, absolutely. Education never stops. We should always try to learn more. We're going to have many different activities for all ages. We will have monarch tagging and displays, caterpillar displays, and then lots of things for the kids, like beeswax crafts and face painting, and then Bees and D will be there as well, and they are just very educational about our pollinators.
And take us through that partnership too, because Bees and the D, they focus primarily on, of course, bees, with hives all throughout the city of Detroit, much of the metropolitan area. Of course, you mentioned they partner with West Bloomfield Park. So to have those experts in a very key pollinator demographic with those bees be available to you as a resource and to also provide education to the community, how does that help you bolster, as West Bloomfield Parks collectively, your appreciation and your support for pollinators and educating on pollinators in our community?
Yeah, Bees and the D's is very essential to what we do here. They are a wealth of knowledge. They will come and they do talks with the children on August 23rd at our Pollinator Festival. And then they're also going to take us through the life of a honeybee. So every time I meet them, I learn something new.
And all of this goes back to supporting our native environment here in Greater West Bloomfield. People move to this area for our parks, for our natural landscapes, for the green space that's available in West Bloomfield, Keagle Harbor, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake. And so what role do pollinators play in maintaining that robust environment that we have in our community that is so well appreciated by its residents.
Yes, we can thank pollinators for all of our flowering plants. They contribute to 80% now of all flowering plants. So what they will do is a pollinator can be anything that transfers pollen. So we often think of bees and butterflies, but other things like moths and birds are also pollinators. They will drink the nectar of the flower, get pollen on their bodies, and then transfer to a new flower and bring the pollen there. So that's how we get our flowering plants. We get our fruits, some of our vegetables that way, and they just make our parks look much nicer.
Katie Scaff is with us, environmental education intern with West Bloomfield Parks. Their Pollinator Festival at Marshbank Park on Saturday, August 23rd. It is free to attend, and more information is on wbparks.org. Katie, your department, you're primarily focused on environmental education. It's right there in your title. And with activities like our plan for the Pollinator Festival, there's games, there's discussions, there's interactivity, all playing a role in that. How does that help to aid the education factor in this? It's one thing to tell people facts about pollinators, why they're important. How do these activities engage people in that and help them learn why that's the case?
Yeah, whenever we can get somebody excited to do an activity that is also a learning opportunity, that's the best way to do it. We're going to have so many different tables that show you exactly what pollinators do. We're going to have the food that the pollinators make there, the honey that the honeybees make. And when you get to see it all up close and actually interact with it, that's the best way to learn.
And all this can be found at Marshbank Park Saturday, August 23rd, the Pollinator Festival with West Bloomfield Parks. You can also follow them across social media for more helpful tips, advice, and facts about our pollinators and more nature facts throughout Greater West Bloomfield. Facebook at WB Parks and Instagram at WB_Parks. Katie Scaff is joining us on the Splash Live as they get ready for the Pollinator Festival coming up in very soon here in late August in West Bloomfield Township. Katie, what are some ways beyond what they learn at the Saturday, August 23rd event that people every day in their gardens, at their homes, across the community can help our pollinators as we transition from summer into fall?
Yeah, absolutely. So having native flowers is essential. Having the native milkweed is really important for our monarchs as well. That is where they lay their eggs and also the only food source for their caterpillars. So yeah, definitely focusing on natives. At the Pollinator Festival, we will also have a native seed giveaway. So that might be a perfect time.
And why is it so important that the native plants be a focal point for this? Obviously, we want to help the pollinators. They help really the majority of the plant life in our community. How much do the native plants play a factor in helping those pollinators in particular, but really altogether keeping our environment pristine in Greater West Bloomfield?
Yeah, absolutely. So apart from the milkweed, which is essential for the monarchs, the native plants have evolved with our native pollinators. So their blooming time, the nutrients they have within them is all tied to exactly what our pollinators need.
And Katie, for those that may be attending this event, we'd expect a lot of them are going to be families, but for individuals, maybe they're retirees, maybe they're adults or couples without kids. Why should people of all different age groups want to come to Pollinator Festival and learn this information, enjoy this fun?
Yeah, there's absolutely something for everybody of all ages. The monarch release and then the caterpillar displays are really fun to look at. The naturalists will be there as well to educate everybody about that. We will have sweep netting, so see what you can catch, and then one of the naturalists will tell you more about it.
Games, activity, and plenty of learning at Pollinator Festival Saturday, August 23rd at Marshbank Park. We're joined by environmental education intern Katie Scaff with West Bloomfield Parks. Katie, before we let you go, anything else we haven't discussed yet that people should know about Pollinator Festival?
I think we hit most of the points. It is completely free, no registration needed, and there's something for everybody. So I hope you can join us on Saturday, the 23rd.
If you want to learn more, wbparks.org is the place to go, or join them out at Marshbank Park on Saturday, August 23rd for Pollinator Festival. Katie, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
That's all for our show today. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always online on civiccentertv.com, as well as across all of our social media. Big thank you to our entire crew for making today's show happen, and for you for tuning in. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft, live, local, social. This has been the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.